it is a special thing about coaching online, right? So many of us are used to coach people in a room. So they're sitting there, having two chairs, probably having maybe a table. It may be that you're even so close that you could touch the person on his or her arm, or maybe you're doing some anchoring techniques where you're touching the arm or even the leg or the shoulder or something to kind of support your work here or there. At least you would be able to shake hands or hug the person to welcome him, her, or to say goodbye. And it would be possible to hand him, her a handkerchief, a tissue, when tears are coming, or other elements of support. You have a cookie and a biscuit and a coffee or tea or water or apple. Maybe there are flowers on the table. So we know how to arrange a room and to make people feel comfortable in the surrounding. All of this is difficult when we're coaching online. So it could be that we have the feeling we have to kind of rely on the other person to create a space around him, her when coaching. My suggestion is that we are not waiting for the other person to create a good space, but that we are supporting this. So that already when we are talking about having a date together or coaching, that we're talking about what kind of device do you have? Is it just your smartphone? Is it stable? If we are talking about something where we are kind of developing material, if it goes more to consulting, I would recommend that people have a second screen, so to have a text on one screen and a picture of me on the other screen. If you're just doing coaching, one screen, I think should be enough. But then again, is it a safe space? So are you undisturbed, or is there is it an open room where other people are walking by, listening to you and to me, which of course is not helpful for good coaching. So this is about surrounding. It's also about light. So when people have a light in their back, a window, and the window is coming to my camera, then it feels like a halo around the person. So I'm seeing the person only shadowy, and I see a lot of light here and there, and that will result in an inability of mine to see closer what's happening in the face of the person. And that's for me an important clue. I want to observe the person good or well. And so what I really need is a good light. So that light is coming from the front and I can see the different movements in the face of the person. Another question is how big, how large is the space of the camera? Imagine if I would be here, then part of my face would not be covered and part of my upper body would not be covered. So if I'm like here, I want to see at least the shoulders. So if they're coming down or up or into the front or going back, or if the whole body is leaning towards me, these for me at least are very necessary tools. I do not see the hands and the legs, etc. And I mean, this would be a nice idea to have like a second camera that is watching the whole body of the person, which would make my work as an online coach much easier, because I would see the other parts of the body and how the legs are moving and how the hands are moving, etc. But I think it will take some time until we get there. So what we have is we have the face and we have the upper body. And this at least is something that we can support, that we see it well. So clarify that there is enough light from the front and clarify that the camera is far away, is enough, has enough distance so that you can observe these parts of the body. What else is necessary and what else may be different when coaching online? So one aspect that is really a big difference is eye contact. So most people have their camera on the upper fringe of the screen. So normally we already feel it's normal that we do not have full eye contact. So in the moment I would look straight into the camera, but then I look down into my own eyes. And so it's not full eye contact. It's like when people look at my eyes, but then it's not full eye contact, of course, because we're not looking at the camera. I think we got used to this a bit, but there are people who have their cameras on another place. So they have the screen here and the camera would be here. And this is a bit disorienting. So for consulting or other work, this may be okay. I think not for coaching. So for coaching, I'm trying to invest time that people really have their cameras on the top of the screen so that they're really kind of don't have a hard time looking at me. I don't have a hard time looking at them. And even he, and so here, if the person kind of is in thoughts, thinks about something or has problems to focus, then I would know what's going on. If the camera is on the side, I always have to think, is this the place where the camera is? So it's making it easier for me as a coach, and I think also for the others, to focus, to establish a good connection if the camera is in the right spot. Apart from this, you could argue online coaching is not so much different, but I think it's even more necessary to be clear. And so I would rather say all the other elements of coaching that are valid in real life coaching or in presence coaching are more true for online coaching. What do I mean here? For example, if you did not clarify the frame, what are we really working on? And you just start by jumping into the work. This is a problem for coaching in general, be it in a room or be it online. If you're doing it in a room, it could be that you pick up the clues of disorientation, of non-clarity quicker because you have the whole body to observe. But it's a problem there as well. It could be that you haven't clarified enough before the first meeting, and then you're having struggle in the first meeting. It's the same online, of course. So what do we need as clarity before we start? This is even more necessary online. What else is necessary? Apart from clarification, apart from establishing clarity around the infrastructure, the room, etc., as we have been talking before, there is also the necessity to clarify, for example, questions of recording. So normally, of course, when you have a coaching in presence in a room, it's very rare that people record. So sometimes people record my coachings, say, I need to listen to this later. So they are doing recording, but it's seldom that I would do a recording for them in a room, at least not with video. Sometimes people ask me for an audio. But here, if you're in Zoom, for example, it's very easy to do a recording, and then there is a recording. So what do you do with it? It could be that it has sensitive material, and normally I, as a coach, would have this recording. Maybe we can, so this is a new problem there, because it's so easy to make a recording. One option is that I do not make the recording, but rather I enable the other person to make a recording. So I'm giving him her hosting or co-hosting rights so they can do a recording, whatever they're doing with it. But I do not even have a copy, could be. The moment I have a copy, I have all these problems because the recording is then on a cloud of mine, and a recording with a very sensitive material having on my Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive is not something I would like to have. So then we start having all these difficulties with data protection and safe service, etc. So this is an extra problem that we're having when doing online coaching. Silence is another question, just as you may have experienced now for these 3 seconds. So silence in a room is easier because very often we have a nice surrounding, we have flowers there, we have a window where we can look outside, etc. But if we have an online coaching, silence can become more difficult for people at the beginning. And when I would look to another place, you wouldn't see that I'm looking at flowers. So, but if I'm in the room and I'm looking to flowers, then you could say, he's looking to flowers. Okay, that's good. But you don't have this clue, this hint when we are doing online coaching. The last topic I would like to address about online coaching here in this video is about screen and screen time and relaxing the eyes. So many people now address the topic that their eyes are getting, they're hurting because they're having so much screen time. So what they're suggesting is it possible that I don't look at the screen all the time? Or is it possible even to switch off the camera? A tricky question, I would say. So what I would suggest is that I'd like to see the persons. So of course you can say, okay, if you want, you can switch off your camera. You can do this. I would not recommend it. What I would recommend is that if the person says she doesn't want to look at the screen all the time, that she turns around in her chair 90 degrees, for example, like this. So people with the whole chair turning would look here and watch, look outside the window, etc., like calling on a phone. And then, but still, the coach would still see me and part of my face, half of my face and of my body. And so you would still, as a coach, get some hints what's going on here in my face while talking about stuff. And then I could say, oh, could you please look to me? Okay, and then I could look back. So it's, but still as a coach, you would get some necessary observations. And maybe that's important that you tell the person, I need your body like a board in a car, in the cockpit in a car where I see some lights or what's going on here. So I need your face and your body to make observations and to support you. It could be that you have problems with your audio when people are not looking straight into the camera. So in this case, it could be that it's helpful to have some earplugs for the other person so that she can really look to another position when the installed camera is not getting enough volume of the voice of the person. Yeah, some aspects about online coaching. I would love to hear from you what other observations and insights you got when doing online coaching. So please come back to me, reflect, send me some feedback, etc. Thank you.